1 minute. Five, four, three, two, 1, 0.
That is tough.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Pastor Ray, a.k.a. Pastor Ramon here, and you are at a live well encounter, as well as my brother.
What's up, everybody? I'm 3J. Without those three, we have no peace. Let's get it.
And listen, it's another Thursday evening. You know how we like to do. We like to take over your Thursdays and go live with you, because guess what? Hashtag the well is you. If you ever post anything from the well, make sure to tag hashtag the well is you, because the well is you. It's all about you and you interacting. This is the unchurched church, and for some people, it is the only church that they will ever be a part of. So listen, now that you're joining in with us, and tonight I even went live on my Instagram post, so I'm checking that too to say hi to all the people on Instagram. Listen, yeah, well, so tonight we're back on it in part 2, deciphering the future of the historic Black church reloaded. So this is part 2 of deciphering the future of the historic Black church, and we're so glad that you're a part of it tonight. Listen, what is the well? The well is a creative arts and conscious awareness faith community, and we embrace everybody. We want everybody to feel like they could be a part of this. And you can check us out, that's right, at our website, www.encounterthewell.org. And listen, while you're watching, if you're on Facebook, make sure that you like this, that you share this post on your page or in your messenger or to all your friends and family. And make sure you leave a comment to say, hey, I was here, or I'm here and I'm with you. You know what I mean? We just like to know that we got people with us.
Get involved.
Get involved.
Talk with us.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a point of conversation you'd love for us to hit, man, send it in, let us know. We love to know. DM us at Encounter the Well. Listen, the well is all about 3 different words. Encounter the well, become the well, emerge and share the well. It's synonymous with like encounter Jesus, become more like Jesus, emerge and share Jesus.
I like that. Encounter
love, become more like love, and emerge and share love. You know what I'm saying? One more. Encounter truth, become truth, emerge and share truth.
You want it.
You know what I'm saying? I
can
keep going, but I'm gonna stop right there.
Okay.
All right, so listen. Everything that we do here at the well should lead you down a path of the 5 P's. But I'm gonna let 3J tell you what those 5 P's are. So go ahead.
This is the new thing, so I gotta get the 5 P's now. So you have promise, you have purpose, you have passion, you have peace, and my favorite, power. I love it. I love it.
Say it one more time for the people.
So one more time?
One more time
so
for
I'm
the
gonna
people.
go backwards. So you have power, you have passion, you have purpose, you have peace, and you have promise. I love it.
I love it, man.
I love those. So what made you come with them 5 P's, bro?
You know, it's a good question, man. I just feel like those are the things that create a wholeness for you in your life. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I think that's everything that the Bible really kind of like pushes us towards, is to find all of those 5 P's. You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
So yeah.
Okay, I'm with that.
Yeah,
smart brother, y'all.
All right, so basically that's the 5 P's. Tonight we're talking again about deciphering the future of the historic Black church, and I've got 3 other dynamic guests on tonight for you, and we're going to move right on into them. So without further ado, and if you're watching this from the Amplify Network, please make sure you like that page, share that page, comment on that page, let people know you're here. What's up, Charles? What's up, Miss Nikki? And let's bring in our panel.
Y'all, look at them beautiful people. What's up, y'all?
What's going on?
Hey, family.
I can't tell you how excited I am tonight because, listen, we have, oh my God, like, okay, so y'all over the last couple of weeks have met my boy down south, my guy, Brennan Booz, who is the creator of Black Methodist. Brennan, say something to the people, let them know how you feeling. What's going on with you tonight, man?
Listen, man, we black at it again. We black at it to win. You know how you know my slogan, man. That's all we here for, man. Just here to support black, be black, love black, you know, and win being black.
Love that slogan.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Hey, we're going to follow up with the man who's shaking his head. Man, another brother of mine that I've known for years, one of the closest people to my heart and my soul and my spirit. Again, somebody who I graduated with in some kind of way. He got older than I did at this point. So I don't know what's going on with him right now. But I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic to him. Go ahead. Why don't you introduce yourself, Minister LeVar Jones, the proud CEO and director of Project Good Men and over at New Macedonia. Share something with the peoples, man.
Well, listen, as always, I'm glad to be with the Well family. I'm praying for Pastor Ray because I don't know how that math always seems to get so mixed up. But God is a deliverer in the midst of all of it. In the mighty, strong name, as we say in the Baptist tradition, the strong name of Jesus. Amen. I'm glad to be here with y'all tonight to just talk about the church and the Black experience, man. It's just a dope place to be, and I'm glad that all these conversations are going on right now. So I'm glad to be a part, as always.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Shout out to Rhonda on Instagram, Damian on Instagram, Gabrielle on Instagram, and all the folks that are tuning in there. Listen, last but not least, I'm so excited, y'all, because normally the young lady that you see at the bottom of the screen is behind the camera, and thanks to relationship, she has agreed to step in front of the camera. Her and her husband are the epitome of the perfect duo, the perfect pair, the perfect couple. She's using the voice of God because she's a producer. Today, they have agreed to come on, and is the first time that the Amplified Network is on the Well.
Yes.
As the Well is on the Amplified Network.
Right.
So y'all,
history.
Hey, family, what's good?
What's going
Hi,
on?
Amplify Nation. Do us a favor. Make sure you like and share. You know I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't tell you what to do. Please like and share. Please like and share.
Yes.
Also, thank you for inviting us on. Of course, Pastor Ray will have me doing double work today, so I am still producing the show while I'm on the show.
Those skills. You know,
That's what Black women do. That's Black women right there. Y'all
That's how we do it. And I see I'm the
it.
only lady representing, so
you gotta represent.
Not only do I represent my hometown,
Oh man,
BK stand up.
Hey yo, what y'all not about to do is continue to have people from New York on here and not let me know. That's what we not about to do.
That's what we're not about to do.
But thank you. Listen, this is it's really good to be on, because the thing of the topic that we're talking about is why we're doing Amplify Network.
Absolutely.
So I'm really excited about that.
I'm excited about it. Thank you for sharing your platform with
us.
Yeah. I mean, it's a partnership. Listen, it's all about the partnerships. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, we're definitely going to go ahead and move into our conversation of the night. You know, I just want to say, and listen, I noticed that the Queen Vanessa down there saying, represent Miss Jackie. Listen, I do have, for those for the lovely, beautiful women and the queens who are watching, I do want to say that you're going to be happy, because in March we have a huge surprise for you all coming up. March is going to be simply amazing with what's happening with the Well, and I'll make that announcement later. So all my ladies, all my women, all my queens out there, y'all get ready. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But tonight, we're talking about deciphering the future of the historic Black church. You know, can we just start so that people are aware of what we do? Minister LeVar, I'd love to start with you, and just if you could share with folks, you know, what are you doing right now? Talk to us about both your role as a minister, but also your role as Project Goodman.
Yeah, so both of them are rooted in my experience in the historic Black. I grew up in a historic Black church. I was reared in the historic Shiloh Baptist Church of Washington, D.C., 9th and P Streets Northwest, under legends like Dr. Henry C. Gregory III, who was a giant in the church world. And so my upbringing, my fiber is because of the Black church. It's because of Tabernacle Baptist Church in Northeast DC on Division Avenue, who reared me in Vacation Bible School, where I still today can tell you scriptures and songs because of what was poured into me at that time. And so, I grew up in the church. I've seen the church at its best. I've seen it at its worst. And I've come to understand the place that I am supposed to serve in being a bridge between church and community. We have been called out to serve. We have been called out to be a light. And so we named our youth ministry at the New Macedonia Church, the Light Youth Ministry, because we wanted young people to understand very early on that your personal relationship has to result in something that comes out of you. And that light and that love has to come out of you, but it's not supposed to just stay in the four walls. I think as we talk about and break down the history and the future of the Black church, we have got to make sure, and I think we've been forced to over the last year, to look at church beyond the wall, because if we continue to keep ourselves inward focused, it will definitely lead to the demise and the irrelevancy of the Black church within not only the Black community, but on a global stage as well. And so all of who I am, all of what I'm doing, Project Goodman, a nonprofit we released last year, all of it is based on the upbringing that I got in the historic Black church.
Yeah, yeah. And LeVar, you've been doing some amazing work. I'm grateful for I'm grateful for the influence of churches over your life, because I've gotten to see it firsthand, and just how you've taken the mantle and you continue to lead. With that being said, I know Jackie, and again, for folks who are watching, just to make sure you guys know, Jackie is on double duty right now, and she's representing Amplify. She's also producing. So all the stuff you all are seeing on the screen, all the ins and outs, that's Jackie right now. She is currently doing all that stuff live, which is super dope. So I'll ask you, Terrence. Look at that.
I've done Jackie's work before, but I've never done dual. So she crazy with it right now. She's going crazy with it.
But Terrence, and Jackie, but how has what are you doing right now? Like, what is the Amplify Network? And what is it? What is the mission? What are the goals of Amplify Network?
That's a great question. The Amplify Network, our goal here is to bridge the gap between the church and the unchurched through technology, right? To really focus. I like to say it like this. I like to say we like to use a timely media to share a timeless message, right? To really get the message of God out, but use it through technology, really leverage technology to bridge that gap. God, it's interesting that you, LeVar, you said that you're basically connecting the communities, because that's really what Jesus asked us to do, right? Mm-hmm. To really go out and make disciples. Yeah. So we have to do that in any way possible in our job, where we are, where we fit into all of this, is we do it through technology.
Yeah. I like to say we give a platform to God's voice and people's creativity.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
And
That's
so,
deep.
yeah, we want to be able, we're all creative in all walks of life, even if you're the most technical person.
Right.
Even you'll find, I have a lot of doctor friends who are creative musicians, and it all works together. It's a system. And so, we work in systems, and so we want to use this system, we want to use technology, and we want to push the word of God forth as fast as technology is happening.
As we can.
Right, because the church has been behind.
Listen, the brick and mortar
is no mortar. He says it's out of order, and we say it's no more.
No more. That's how the pandemic has really shifted everything.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but I believe that God has been setting this platform up for years. before it actually launched out. Not necessarily saying just amplify, but the fact of using technology with the church.
Yeah.
We've been setting this up for years. If you go back and take a look at everything, it's been leading us to that slowly. So
Yeah, slowly.
yeah.
I mean, and I know you gotta go. I know you want to talk, Pastor Ray, but you done messed up now. You done messed up now. You done put me in front of the camera, so I got something to say.
Go ahead, Queen. Get your shots off. Go ahead, Queen.
The church before has been so, and I know I don't want to rush, so you can stop me because you probably have to talk about this later on in the show. But the church has been so scared to use technology in the past, or it was deemed a bad thing. Social media, don't use social media because it's the devil, or you know what I'm saying. And now because of where we're at, we're having to use it.
Yeah, we was forced to use it.
Just like music, just like hip hop, just like anything. It's basically, I always say we need to take it over. So if it's been used for bad, we can still take it back and use it for good.
Absolutely.
Right? So
Absolutely.
I think the fear, there's some fear going on, but technology, and I'll say this too. My mother is a person she's in her 70s. She doesn't use technology. So you get really scared with things that are unknown. And I think the unknown has scared the church. They scared.
They scared.
And so now you had to come out of that.
Yeah.
Brennan, how you feel about that, man? The creative Black Methodist who works with so many of the Methodist folks on technology. Brennan, how you feeling about this conversation, bro? I know you got something to say.
Bro, I mean, it's nothing like that I haven't said before. Like it's the truth. This is like what he said, connecting Terrence, what you said, connecting telling a timeless story through a timely platform, like that is literally it. Like that's it. That's just what it is. And so I'm grateful for like Amplified Network and what you all are doing. And bro, Minister LeVar, I'm new to your program and platform, but like I'm excited to learn about that. But I think, just for myself, I'm a digital media strategist, so
Nice.
I absolutely understand the struggles that churches have had with digital media and having with just the thought of using it, and the perception of using it, but then also the application of it, because we can't you're not putting your announcements on social media and just expecting a whole bunch of people to engage with it and love the content. Like you can't just throw up the next church service and expect people to join in. Like, no, this is social media. Got to be social. Join in and love on the people a little bit. Join in some conversations. And I know that's been something that churches have struggled with, but I think primarily because of that fear that Jackie mentioned. It is real. It's the fear of really the unknown. But like I've told people, and I think I gave this example on the well a couple weeks back, but I literally had to show a church one time, just give me a roundabout number of your budget for musicians for any given Sunday. Just give me that number. Cool. They gave me 500. Bet. All right. How many people come into your church every week? I threw out a random number, 250. Most churches don't see 250 people in a week, but we're gonna go with 250. And I was like, and I literally just had to show them, like, with the $500 that you spend on musicians for these 250 people, I can take your message and reach thousands of people. Like I can literally take that sermon, throw an ad behind it, and we can reach hundreds of thousands of people with that same $500 worth, rather than just reaching this 250. And it's like when we really think about it, our mission is to go into all the world, not just the world where we're
just
comfortable, not just the world where we have no fear, not just the world where we feel like we can communicate with the broader audience. It's the places that, where the content isn't always us or
yeah,
always
Right.
Christian, or always church. That's really where we're supposed to be the most,
yeah.
So it's like when we see your social media and your thread don't look, as savory or as holy as you want it to be, like it's our responsibility to change that. We can do that through proper digital media tactics and strategies and things like that. So that's really my goal, to help churches like find their voice and move from complaining about the content to creating the content they want to see.
Brandon, why we need to have a whole nother conversation off camera, man.
So do some time.
Let me find out you've been hiding. Pastor Ray, get him.
Listen,
You can't be talking I talk and then not be calling us. I'm sorry.
Listen, LeVar
listen, man, and Ray knows, man. I've been fighting this fight for
A long time.
before I even started calling myself a digital media strategist, before I had degrees in marketing and things like that, just really preaching to churches, like, listen, this is where people are joining. Like social media, I think it was 2 years ago, passed pornography as the #1 activity on the internet. And like, if that's not a sign of where things are going, like social media is it. So why would the church deny the access we have to this just pool of in this population of people to tell our story, to tell the story of the love of Christ and how it has changed our lives. And I mean, I think my work is inspired by, I would say the older culture. One of my mentors, someone I look up to and revere, Reverend William Robinson in Little Rock, Arkansas, affectionately known as Pawpaw. He preached a sermon and gave me one of my favorite quotes. He said, "Christianity isn't about telling your own story; it's about creating a story for someone else."
Amen.
That's right.
And that's it.
That's real right there. That's real.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The church. I guess I would say.
I'm sorry.
The church is usually the last to jump on board. Like we've been using social media when you think about it for years, and it took a situation like a pandemic to force the church to do it. Like we're not
Literally, right?
Yeah, seriously.
Literally, right?
The last to jump on board, man.
Yeah, and so we're talking about so this is how, to me, we're all trying to fill the mantle of being the church in the present. LeVar, I'm gonna jump back to you, bro. I mean, you're doing mentorship, and so in some ways, I look at what Brendan is saying and what Jackie and Terrence are doing. It sounds like we're all, in some form and way, doing some mentorship and trying to be the voice of now and the voice of present. LeVar, talk to me a little about mentorship and how that is, like, how do you embody the Black church in what you're doing now? How do you consider yourself the voice of the Black church in this present moment?
So I think I bring to the table the model of mentorship. And I think we got to understand that was Jesus's model.
Yeah.
Jesus was literally a mentor. Like, and we don't often think of him in that light, but he was a mentor. What is a mentor? A mentor is someone who walks in front of you to show you the way. And so, if anything, the Black church needs to model that behavior. And within churchdom, it's discipleship. Mentorship, discipleship is the same thing. It's walking with someone. And I think as it relates to young people, one of the reasons why we've seen such an exodus in young people and young adults from the historic church is because we had a lack of people willing to walk with young people. Walking with people is messy. Walking with people is dirty. Walking with people is phone calls at 2:00 in the morning to come and get them because they tried to take their own life. Mentorship and walking with people is not pretty. It's not glamorous. Mentorship and discipleship will not get your name on the digital media graphic for the ad behind the sermon that reaches the thousands of people. Discipleship and mentorship is the core of the church because that's what Jesus did. He walked in front of 12 dudes and said, look, all y'all different, but we're going to all walk this direction.
Amen.
We're gonna all move in this direction. We're gonna all move in this way. When they see you, they're gonna see me. And unless we can help young people understand and find their place in a space where they can follow someone and not feel like that they are giving up their connection with God. Because as I follow a human, it doesn't mean that I'm worshiping the human. It means I believe that God sent you, that you and I are intricately connected, that there's something in you that I need that God put there, and He allowed our paths to run parallel with one another so that I can be made better. But I can't be made better if you're too scared to walk with me because my pants sagging. If you're too scared to walk with me because my blouse too tight. If you're too scared to walk with me because I smell like weed. You need to walk with me because that's what Jesus did.
Amen.
That's
Amen.
Wow.
Can we highlight something he said that was I think some people might have missed it, but he at the beginning he said the church needs to model
Yes.
their work after Jesus. Man, if we're not doing that, like if that's
Man,
the
Then what we
But
What are
doing?
we
subscription of what
doing?
we
Then
should
what
be
we
doing.
doing?
watch this though, and watch how many. Look at how many churches lost themselves in the pandemic because they were not. They were
Yes.
doing everything else
right,
other than modeling the ministry of Jesus. So now it's like,
right.
oh man, we don't have no building to do the thing. We don't have no. What we gonna do?
What
We
do
we
we do?
stuck.
What's
Yeah,
next?
because y'all were doing the work.
Ray, what did
Yeah,
I ask
it's
you
funny
when
you say
we
that because
Uh,
when God gave us the vision, He told us He was taking the church outside of the four walls.
Right. Right.
And we've heard that before. But He was like, we're going to use technology for it. You're going to use technology. All the things that the church has been before now afraid of, we're going to use it. What happens now when AI is introduced? Are we going to call it the devil? Are we going to call it
yeah,
evil?
we're gonna
right.
label it the mark of the beast. That's
Right.
what it's gonna be the new mark of the beast.
But who,
And Jackie, it's so
somebody probably
funny.
thought a computer was
Yeah.
that as well. It's
Oh, yeah.
too
I
much
remember
access.
that. I remember
Yeah.
that.
Too much
Yeah.
access. We have too much access, but it's not about things moving. God is a God move. He's the busiest multitasker we got.
Right.
He's everywhere at all times doing everything, and we can't. We're supposed to be in His image, so we can do things and move with the time. He gave us the vision. We just
Right.
have to put it in the right perspective.
And Jackie, you said something too. I just wanted to jump. I can catch myself. We say it so much, and I think those of us who are conscious, God conscious of it, understand. And we say, let's take the gospel outside of the four walls of the church. He is that when the church was initiated, it was not initiated in the temple.
My
It was
God.
It was in the
initiated in the
tents.
houses of people. It was
Yes,
Yes.
houses,
at the
Yes.
bar. It was at the
outside.
village out. And so it is us who have taken the gospel and
Put it in the
selfishly
building.
aimed it for ourselves. And then we don't understand why we got 15 churches on a 2 block radius and
Yo.
still
Oh my God.
experience poverty and
Listen.
violence in the community. It's
In
because
our
we
neighborhood.
hoarding the gospel to ourselves. It was never designed to be inside the four walls. It's too powerful to be contained in a space like that. We were designed. Jesus said, go.
Go. Go.
3J,
So
3J.
that's. Oh, go ahead.
How many of Jesus's miracles? How many of Jesus's miracles happened in the church? 3J.
You know what? That's the craziest thing, man. I think that one of the things that saddens me the most, right, is to go and see 20 churches in a 2 block radius, but then you look at the community and the community suffering. It's like, really, what are you doing? There's 20 churches. Somebody has to do something. Someone must have an influence to be able to change that community. But no, so what are you doing? Well, you're going and you're sitting inside of your church, and you want them to come to you. And just like you said, LeVar, just like it says in the Bible, God said, go. You have to go.
Yeah.
And just to add, there are some great things that the church brings, right? It brings community, it brings us together, but it's when we're not able to broaden our vision. Is there a problem? Because when the two or more are gathered, And the church was the place, let's say back in the day when it was
Right.
slavery, the church was a place that you can communicate all kinds of things that were going on that you you hid in a song, or you hid in your well, you couldn't even really praise, but it was it was there. It was the meeting place. It was the meeting ground. So there are things that come out of every situation as good. It's the way in which we check on God to find out if we're doing this and not our own mess.
That's religion, man.
So
That's
I have a
religion.
question though, right? Because here's the thing, so we had brother Cameron on last week, right? And we all talked about like, because apparently, right? When I look at you all, and the reason why I think the question is so important is about how are you being the voice of the church right now, especially the Black church. I think there's some amazing folks on that are the voice of the Black church right now.
Yeah.
But here's the question that and help me through this. This is a real question. With all of us representing the Black church doing some great positive things, why is it that there's still such a disconnect from the church in so many places? And why is the church no longer in the lead that it was? I mean, we talked about this with the hip hop conversation, right? The hip hop is more of the dominating culture now than the church is in the season. Where's the disconnect? Like, what's the, I mean, because obviously there are people that are representing the church right now outside of the walls doing amazing ministry, but there's still this major disconnect, and the church has lost that influential power that it once had. Why?
Well, there's a business about church. I'm sorry that we're not paying attention to. Church is a business, and so there are things that you do in business that you're not going to do necessarily. There are things that are just
Sometimes,
business.
yeah, it can get mixed up.
And it can get mixed up. There's ministry, and then there's the business of ministry, and sometimes we get it real
Yeah,
twisted.
Everyone runs their business
Differently. Now, there are some churches that do an amazing job of understanding that they go hand in hand together, because you need to pay your lights, you need to pay all these things, why they have to collect the way they do, right? Because things have to get paid, right? And so, but I think that there's a big disconnect because we're not paying attention to those differences.
Yeah. I think a part of it is that in too many cases we still exist in silos. You know, and Terrence talked about, you know, those churches on the multiple churches on the block. Part of the problem is that not only is the church not reaching out, but we're not even in too many cases we're not even connecting with one another.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things I love about the Well, I'll shout out to my brother Pastor Jonathan Queen over at First Baptist Glenarden, their Unashamed youth ministry. You all both include and create platforms, and amplify as well, create platforms for multiple entities, so that at the end of the night, this is a conversation about the historic Black church, but they're getting the Well, they're getting Amplified, they're getting Black Methodist, they're getting Project Goodman, they're getting New Mass, but ain't nobody on here fighting for logos and scratching for, oh, I want to be in the front. Let me show my name, put myself up there. We hear vibe, having a real conversation and making the connection and presenting something to the people. You know, and I think back even to, you know, the Black church in the civil rights era. I'm sure that there were, you know, some of those, well, have it in my church, but no, my fried chicken tastes better, well, our ushers dress better, or whatever those things are. But at least that was done in the behind the scene. In the front, you had a united front. You had a united front of churches coming together to meet at a 16th Street Baptist church, to lead and create space for a Birmingham children's movement, so that thousands of young people could gather inside the church and then walk outside the church and demand that justice come down like rain. So we got to get out of the silo mentality and understand that if we are going to be in community with one another, and Ramon, no, we family. Like it's nothing to say, hey, it's just about coordinating the how and the when and the where we're going to do it. But we are in community. That means that we are accountable to one another. And if we don't look at it in the sense that big church is accountable to little church is accountable to medium church, old Black people church is accountable to little young Black people church. If we don't make those connections within the community of the historic Black church, we're not going to be what we need to be to be and we will lose, as we've seen in too many cases, we will lose our relevant voice. I think the other thing I'll say quickly is when you have that community, then you're able to bring together voices, ideas, issues, things that are important. You get a broad scope. And so you're able to speak to more. If your church is only talking about one thing, ain't nobody coming to your church. Ain't nobody gonna come to your one line, heard that 12 times by the pastor because he recycled that 2 years ago church. Nobody coming. Your church needs to be able to speak to human sexuality. Your church needs to be able to speak to technology. Your church needs to be able to speak to police-free schools. Your church needs to be able to speak to all of those things because that's where the people's needs are. And if you don't have a rhema word from God about those issues, you are not going to be right.
Yeah, and you know what, Minister
That's
LeVar, I would say that also goes for technology as well. If you have a lot of technology and a lot of social and no God in it, where you're not praying, you're not fasting, you're not understanding that this is the purpose is to connect with God,
Right.
and it's to, okay.
No, go ahead.
And so if you're leaving it out as well on the technology end, you're missing the mark as well.
You know what, Ray? And first of all, both you guys have some great points, and I want to basically kind of piggyback on that. When I look at the disconnect within all of the churches that are on the block, the biggest thing I see is vision. I think a lot of the disconnect because being that we're all leaders, the fact that some leaders have a totally different vision for their crew, totally different vision for their community, a totally different vision for whatever they're doing, and it may not include the other churches that are around. They may figure, hey, we have enough to make this happen, so they need to broaden their vision, broaden their scope, and so the Bible says, without a vision, the people perish.
That's true.
Like really, you need a vision, and you need to be able to have a vision that the entire community rallies around. Not 20 different visions. If you have 20 different visions, that's like division. You see what I'm saying? Everybody's divided. So I believe it really boils down to the vision, like making sure that you have a vision that everyone in the community can at least agree with, jump on board, and begin to make the impact in the community.
Yeah, I don't want us to forget, Pastor Ramon. I don't want us to forget. There have been a lot of people commenting, and so we have Latay saying the church
That's
should
actually,
be the biggest.
look,
Okay,
yeah,
that's what you
her-
were about to say. Okay.
Yeah. Just talking about, because man, after this weekend watching the Black Messiah movie, Judas and the Black Messiah, and then also watching this the PBS documentary, bro, is just like the one thing I realized, and just thinking back, it's like, man, our religious practices have caused us to really forget like what we come from and who we are and how these revolutions started. Like even Mr. LeVar, when you were talking about how the church started and it wasn't in the four walls. Like when we think back, and this is I might get myself in trouble for this, but if we think back to what started most of the Black revolutions and Black power movements and even like movements of liberation, one thing we have to realize right now is that, and it's something I've realized, is like, I'm not going to be the voice or a voice for much longer. And that's because most of our movements were started by younger folks. Like Fred Hampton was 21. That shocked me. Listening, going back and listening to some of the things he was saying, and listen, you might feel a way about his tactics or whatever, but you cannot argue the results. Period. Like the results and the movement he started, that is like that's the work. And so it's like when I think back to that and I look at myself, it's like, all right, B, you 32, fam. Like it's about your time to pass this on. So it's like even in creating the Black Methodist, my platform, it wasn't built for me to hold it and sustain it for the next 30 years. It was built for right now for me in this position, and like at some point somebody else is going to take it on. Right. Somebody else is going to take the mantle and run with it and make it something greater, and I'm gonna move on and I'm gonna move out the way. But it's like I think the one thing I realize is that, like, when we think about now and the movements that we need and the movements we want to see, and even these conversations, like, I'm realizing that, yeah, I'm in this position right now, but my time of being the voice, the spearhead of a movement is coming to an end, and I have to. It's my responsibility to make sure that I empower other people to find their voices and use them in the same way, and to take, like, this movement and take it to the next level.
Right.
Brendan,
LeVar,
you said,
don't move.
okay.
Just LeVar, hold on real quick. Don't lose it. I just wanna read what Miss Nikki does say. The church should be the biggest advocate for the people, not the politicians. Hashtag marinate on that. And I just thought that was a
Hmm.
great comment. And then again, also Miss Pam, who said the church what was the mask. There are just some great comments that are coming in. I just want to make sure if you're watching this that you're sharing this on your pages,
Share,
that
share,
you're liking
share.
this comment, send it to people through their messages. Make sure that people are watching with us. Cassandra, who says this should be a great movie to share with the young men of Project Goodman. So I hear you. That's shout out to LeVar. LeVar,
Yes,
Pastor Mike.
and a shout out to Pastor Tay who's watching. He's
Yes,
watching.
I saw him more. Yes, yes.
Yes, so we want to say shout out to Pastor Tay. So, yeah. And Helen. Amplify
Yes.
Babylon.
I was going to just say to Brendan's point, I wonder how many black churches have a pastoral succession plan. I'll wait. I don't think it exists in too many because, and we talk a lot about term limits in a political arena, but we don't often have the conversation within the church to say, hey, Doc, maybe you shouldn't be in that role 50. We shouldn't be having the pastor's 89th pastoral anniversary. Maybe we should have stopped at around 45, and that you had a plan in place to transition leadership into a space so that when you get to be, 40, like me and Pastor Ray, you're able to then start looking at who who's next. And not just that you are looking at them, but that, again, going back to the mentoring model of Jesus, that person should, or those people should be following you so that they understand the ministry. And then back to Jackie's point, that they understand the operations, the technical side of it, the business side of it. They need to, and this is again why we tried to do it. Back in the day, we had junior deacons and junior trustees, but
Right.
that was just to placate young people and put them in positions where you wasn't letting them youngers in the trustee room. You wasn't letting them youngers come in the deacons meeting. They just had a title and they sat on the front row on Youth Sunday. Why didn't we take it further? Why didn't we bring them to the table when the deacons were talking about the functions of the church? Why didn't we let the youngins in the room when the trustees were counting the money so that they could understand integrity and honor and character, and when they were 12 and 13 years old, and how that connects to their own personal finances? So maybe if they understand that, they wouldn't be in debt when they're 21 trying to get free and start their life to begin with. So we miss moments to empower people not only for their personal lives, but for the life of the church, when we don't allow young people to walk with us, when we don't create succession plans, when we don't try to power grab and stay in places that we know God has told us don't stay in, that you shift. And it's not that we get rid of you, but you shift into a different role. I'm in that place again, at 40, asking myself now, all right, cool. I don't have the patience no more to be a youth pastor because I'm about to pluck one of my babies in a minute because we just at that stage. So now what's next? Does that mean that I just disappear? No. Who's coming behind? Who's developing young disciples after me? Do they know what they're doing? Do they know who to be connected to? Do they know where to study, where to grow? Those are the conversations that we need to be having if we're going to ensure, again, our relevancy.
A lot of what you're saying, LeVar, and I wanna expand even on mantle though, because I think it's a two-parter. I think I agree with what you all are saying about this session. So I don't want to sound like this is, yeah. Cassandra just went exactly where I wanted to go. In that it's not just to me the age piece that is an important part, I think it's also, though, allowing ourselves to be creative. I think there are folks who get started at a later age, at the 30s and 40s and 50s, who are just as strong at leading and walking into that. But I think they're also creative enough to break the chains of what I think entitlement and title does to people, right? Because I think if we go back to kind of the question I asked earlier, how does the church, why is it that the church has people like you and Cameron from last week, and Jackie and Terrence and Brennan and so forth, and all these folks who are doing things, and they really are the prophetic voice of the church, but there's this disconnect. And I think a lot of it is that there's in the wall there's such a grapple with title and empowerment. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, well, I heard, I shared this story. I was sitting there with somebody a couple of years back at a workshop. I remember a young lady, middle-aged lady who probably about 50-ish or so, and she was a lead pastor, and she asked the question. She said, I got my degree, I did this, I have worked my way up the ladder. At 45 and 50 and 50, why should I have to move out the way for some young 20-something-year-old who's just out of college and now is going to get the church that I should be assigned to, or that I've been waiting to get to? Why should I have to wait? And I think it's simply because we don't always wrestle with the fact that there are things we are called to, right? So like it's important to remember, if God can call you at any age, but you have to be in tune with, where am I called, and less with, where do I feel entitled. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's just one of those big disconnects that we get into, is that
Too many
entitlement.
folks want to be Jesus and don't want to be John.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Ramon, you hit it. Like there are white churches, white led churches, who for years understood exactly what you just said. We've now starting to see some black churches following the same suit. But you had a lead pastor, you had a teaching pastor, because they understood. Listen, that ain't even my lane. I'm not even going to try to be operations, because that's not what I'm called to. I got the vision. So I'm going to run and serve in the lead role. Cool, you do that. I just want to teach. I ain't interested in nobody's meeting. I ain't talking about no none of that. I just want to teach the word, and that's it. And so I think if we get in that, and to your point, Ramon, so many people, like, why do we not see the honor of walking with someone? I know adults who have the mindset you just said, that you talked about. Well, why give up? Why do we not see it as an honor to share that space, to walk with somebody else? Project Goodman has created this concept of the mentoring circle. So we're doing away with traditional mentoring, and we're asking a question. We're going to share this space together, so that there's a 9-year-old fifth grader in the circle with a 17-year-old 12th grader. And that 12th grader is accountable to that fifth grader. Yeah, he's younger and he may not have the wisdom and the experience, but because we are in community, we are accountable to one another. And so we got to get to the place where we see each other, we see the humanity of each other, and that we can celebrate the fact that, look, I'm going to share this space with you. I'm going to hold up court with you. And it's an honor for me to do that. It's an honor for me to walk with you. Do you think people will walk in across the Edmund Pettus Bridge with Dr. King saying, man, that ain't my name. They're not talking about me. No, they should just be honored to be in shared space. We got to get back to that type of thing.
Mm.
Terrence, hearing this kind of conversation, man, how is Amplify using its voice now to reach that creative, both, and hear me out, the creative and the younger generation? Because I don't want, the creative generation is a large generation. That's from younger to older, and the younger side. I want to make sure you hear my question. How is the Amplify Network using its voice and its platform to reach both the creatives, and the younger generation?
That's a great question, man. When you think about platforms and technology, so you're so right. We have a platform where the creative can come And everyone was created in the image of God. So therefore, we have creativity in us. We are creative. So this platform is for everyone who wants to push forth God's agenda. And so when you think about that, and you think about maybe the younger generation, that's why I say we're bridging the gap through technology. The younger generations, they're not flooding into the brick and mortar like maybe I did when I was growing up, or maybe you did when you was growing up. So the beautiful thing is that when you look at the motto of basically taking a timely media and sharing a timeless message, the thing is that technology changes all the time. So our job here is to keep up with the technology and allow the newcomer, the young person, the older person, whoever wants to come and share God's light, use this platform for that. And so that's why we positioned ourselves to be able to share this with everyone, because this is not just our platform. I always say this is God's platform. So as long as we're doing God's work, I don't care if you're 10, I don't care if you're 100. This is a platform that you can come and do your stuff.
Yeah, we make room for your creativity. We encourage. We get inspired by others'
Absolutely.
creativity. We get inspired when other people are pushing forward. And so, you guys touched on that point that we're not doing it together. And this is the platform for that, where
Right.
we can do it together.
Yeah. That's just like
You know, it's
even
funny,
in the morning. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The bounce off of Terrence's point about just how technology shifts. I mean, even God shifted how he spoke to his people. I mean, Moses, it was a burning bush. It was a valley of dry bones for someone else. It turned into, on the day of Pentecost, fire in the tongues. It's like, even like it's when we look at just how even God communicated with his people, we have to understand that he shifted over time because the people shifted. And in order for him to be most effective in getting the message across, he had to adjust. It wasn't the same time. It wasn't the same. The same technology wasn't around. People didn't have the same understandings of the world. And so now, and I mean, even technology itself, it's from God. Like it's still ideas and creativity that in the end spurs from God. So why are we looking at something that in itself, if we believe God is who he is, he's all powerful, all knowing, you know, and he orchestrates, you know, if we believe God to be that person, why are we denying where the world is moving? And it's not, and so it's like, it's us really, it's us having fear of God in some sort, not necessarily the good type of fear, but fear of where God is taking us. And that's to me, that's a lack of faith.
Right.
And so we have to have faith that God is who he is, and he's prepared us to be who we're supposed to be in spite of what's going on around us.
So true, Brennan. Man, you hit the nail on the head, right? Because sometimes we forget that we serve an I am God. Like, and he shifts to meet you where you are. You know, he's going to meet you. So the thing is that it's not the vehicle, it's the message. So we can use technology as long as we're sharing his message. That is a timeless message. So that's why we created this platform, so everyone, because we can't do this by ourselves. Like you said, LeVar, like we need everyone, this community. Because we have to get God's word to the world. Get this message to the world. And we're all designed so unique, so different, that maybe, Brendan, your voice will touch a certain crew. You know what I'm saying? Brendan, your voice will touch a totally different community. LeVar, your voice will touch someone that I can't even speak to. But that's why this platform is so needed. It's so necessary. Because we're sharing the same message, but in our own unique way, and everyone needs to hear it.
You know what? There's some message. You're going to talk about some of the comments that are coming in, because I don't want us to leave them out.
Yeah, I have my phone right. Like I was looking, I was like, yo, they letting off some shots in the comments.
Yes, they are.
Yes, Jackie, I was right there because listen, you all who are having the conversations, what I love about this platform, and this is what I love about this platform that Amplify has allowed us to be on, and that technology opens up to, is that to me this is church, right? I don't believe that there's one form of church, and I believe that church comes in so many different fashions, and so in this way, people get to comment in real time and be a part of something that is all about, and I didn't say this in the beginning, right? Because the well is all about asking the right questions. It's not always about having to give people the right answers. We believe that in asking the right questions and having the right conversations, it pushes you and motivates you to do your own work, your own self-discovery, your own research to figure out what is the answer and what's the answer that I feel is the truth, right? What is God saying to me? And so that's big. And so I love that people are having conversations with each other in the comments. I know that Miss Nikki said something earlier, where she said we lost that mentality when society told us that life is a rat race and only the strongest survive. Constant competition in the corporate world and working your way up to the top has moved into the church. So the church now operates from that same mentality. Working your way up, power and status became more important than building each other up and forming community. Followed by Cassandra.
Come on.
Cassandra, I'm gonna come back to you in a second because I want to, you and Mama
Right,
Dent have some very
but that's even in our partnership between the Well and Black Methodist. That was my whole thing, bro. Like I told you, I was like, yo, y'all doing great work, and I supported y'all way before, so it makes sense for me to join you and work with you. And it's like, yo, bro, I don't want to fight you for a piece of your pie. I'm gonna bake my own. Like I'm not gonna fight people for a piece of pie. I got the ingredients. I can cook my joint up too, and mine might be pumpkin and yours might be sweet potato or apple or cherry, whatever you need. But like we can have our own pies and still like enjoy it. And I can give you a piece of mine, but I'm not gonna fight you for it.
And I'm going there. I'm going there, Brandon. Let me read a few of these, and I'm going right where you are right now. Because Miss Cassandra, I do want to say, I want you to please expand from me. You said technology is awesome, but please incorporate teaching the young folks how to correctly write the word. Texas is a clear example of how basic learning and teaching will always be needed for life. And I just need you to unpack a little bit on how to correctly write the word, what you mean there. Mama Dent, you were talking earlier, you said Jesus taught how to go from me to us. How can technology and mentoring be used to facilitate that same type of consciousness? And that's where I want to go. We talk so much about being the voice of church. And what I love about where I think everybody has hit on this, and so I want to really push this, is this partnering aspect, right? Brendan just alluded to it. Ms. Pam, you said we have to meet people where they are and let God use us. There's a strength. There's a strength. I see you, Ms. Cassandra. There's a strength in partnership. And I want each of you to spend a moment. 3J, I want you to come in on this, man. You've been required, but like,
I've been learning.
Yeah.
Right.
Just taking it in.
I'm taking all of this in. I'm enjoying this. Well, I got comment now.
What is the strength, right? What's the strength in partnership, and how are you utilizing that right now in on your own platform?
Oh, so I'm supposed to answer.
Well, I just continue what I was saying and then let y'all go. But I mean, even with Black Methodists in the Well, Ray, we were having this conversation last year, around this time, just about your network and what you were doing, the conversations you were having. And I told you, like, my whole platform was built to share Black stories and to have those same conversations. And it was I never viewed me, like, us as being in competition. We do some of the same things. Like, we both have conversations and want to have healthy conversations about things that are happening within the church. But and I mean, just actually, being Christian and living Christian and learning to live in a Christian manner. But I never seen it as competition. And so when I just seen it as an opportunity where we both could win. And that's all I wanted. I don't look at any partnership. So even if it turns out to be a partnership with Amplify or you know, with Project Goodman or something like that, I don't view it as competition. And primarily because and I try not to sound conceited or arrogant when I say it, but like no one can be better at me than me. And so if I'm
That's
doing what I'm supposed to be doing, like it don't matter what Ray is doing or you know Minister Jones or Therese and Jackie, it doesn't matter what you're doing. I'm still going to have the impact I'm supposed to have if I'm being the best me. And Ray's going to have the best impact he's supposed to have. So that's my vision, is to, like, whatever I'm supposed to be in whatever space, be the best person I'm supposed to be and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah.
it.
I would. That's dope, man. I would say, Ramon, I would ask anybody who doesn't see the value of partnership to ask them what they would do if they woke up tomorrow morning without their left leg.
Mm.
How would they expect to walk?
It's a war.
I would ask them what they would do without their left eye. How they would expect. 1 Corinthians 12 talks about the body. It says towards the end of the chapter, the hand cannot say to the eye, I don't need you. And I
Mhm.
think sometimes too many of us, we look at each other as, oh, I don't really need you, I'm good. But the body functions as a unit.
Hmm.
It's not that, what is it? I thank the good Lord I woke up with reasonable portion of health and strength. Yeah, it's your whole body woke up. And you think back to the fact of when you wake up and you slept on that left arm, and that you slept in that weird way, and now that left arm is asleep. Think of how much you sitting there shaking your arm, you trying to, because it's frustrating that this part of the body is not working the way it's supposed to. I need this arm and this hand so that I can
Mm.
fully function, but it's asleep, and so I can't do the things I need to do. And that's, I think, God's frustration with us, in that there are parts of us that are asleep. And we think, well, I'm good. No, I need both my arms. I need both my legs, I need the body to function. And I cannot say to another part, I don't have need of you. And even if I do, to Brennan's point, that even if the foot looks at the eye and says, I don't need you, the eye still going to be the eye. That's not going to stop the eye from being the eye. The eye gonna look at the foot, like, all right, Slim, well, you go ahead and try to walk without need, since you don't need me. Let's see
Go
how
ahead,
far
walk
you
blindly.
need
Go ahead, walk
me.
blindly.
And that's how so many of us, we don't see each other as a necessity.
Mm-hmm.
Ramon Christian Jackson is a necessity in my life. He is my brother. God has uniquely stitched us together. Shut up, Drew. Has stitched us together. And so I could never say to him, I don't need you. That's my whole left foot right there. Like, that's that we are, again, intrinsically connected. Intrinsic means that we're not just connected. We are connected because there's something in you that I need, and there's something in me that you need. And we can't function the right way unless we are connected. We gotta get back to that.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You guys summed
Terrence,
it up. You know, they
I mean,
summed it
how
up.
can it,
My man talked
what?
about comparison and competition. My man talked about the body. Man,
What
listen.
else could
We
we
got
say?
I,
we got a word.
because
Bringing it all together, connecting everybody's passion, their points,
yeah,
um, their gifting, and being in the space now, not living back in the past. Moving forward, moving the agenda forward. Partnerships help you. It gives you the inspiration to move it forward. It gives you the encouragement. It gives you the confirmation of moving those things that you know that God is saying to you forward. Those partnerships is the Holy Spirit talking to each other, saying, yes, we're in agreement and we're moving.
yeah.
I I just want to touch on. Okay, so Miss Cassandra, thank you for your voice. I want to say this, and I don't know how old Cassandra is, but I want to say this. I'm very careful when I say that the young folks need this, or the young folks need that, or the young folks don't understand this. I'm very careful about that because we, I don't know that anybody totally gets it. I don't know that older folks totally get it, nor do I know that middle-aged folks totally get it. Because the issue is that so many people in the older generation are folks that we are talking about when we talk about entitlement, when we talk about title, when we talk about power struggle, power hungry. And so oftentimes it's the younger folks who are rebelling. I'm sorry. I saw I saw her comment.
Right.
And it's Miss Cassandra, you still young. You still young at 49. Okay.
So Miss Cassandra
But
is one of our Project Goodman parents. She one of my Boys and Girls Club and Project Goodman parents. So, and she
yeah,
got she, yeah. Go. I'll let you finish that too.
yeah. So I figured that. I just want, and so, and because what I love, first of all, is that she's so vocal, and I love that because we absolutely want people to be as vocal as they can. It's not about saying you're wrong. It's not about shaming at all. I'm actually I'm pushing the conversation with you. I think the place I'm going is that I think are disconnected in all generations to some extent. I think that there's much to learn in the seasoned saint generation. There's much to learn in the middle age generation, and there's much to learn in the young. I think we can learn from each other, which is why I love what Project Goodman does so much. Is that it takes a circle, right, of folks who are throughout the generations and says each one teach one, right, and each one can learn from one another. So yes, so collectively, yes, we can all get it if we're working together. And that's the place that I want to make sure we resonate with. The Black church is strong when it's collectively moving together, whether that be in one age or one generation or all generations, with this, and more importantly, when there's partnerships between the ministries, when there's partnership, we can move together to make sure that our voice is stronger. And if we're not doing that together, and if we're more so pointing the finger, then we're at a place where it gets tough, right? It gets real tough. So I just wanted to make sure I moved on that point.
And,
Go
I
ahead,
think
Corey.
one of the things that she mentioned earlier was about, and I think she was clarifying that she wanted more young folks to study to show themselves approved. As someone who absolutely was given that mantle as a young person to make sure I studied before I had those conversations and really began my work. One of the things that that actual study was the cause of some of the issues I had with church, because I realized that what was being taught wasn't the real. And so that, like, even in that, like, there's and so just to even say that sometimes they are studied, but what they studied and what they found goes against the standards that we've set up in the religion of church. And so, like, when those things happens, we have to make sure we understand that it's not always something that they aren't studying. And for some people, they look at someone with my story, or they're around someone who has my story, who went through, like, the Bible studies, the Bible camps, Bible institute. Sorry, my puppy's in here. But in those different things, but it's like, and got to a point where he was able to articulate and to have those conversations, and was a lot of times it received negative feedback, was sat down, or silent, censored, and all of those things. And you see that happen to someone who went through the system, quote unquote. And it's like, why would I go through that same system when I know my brother just went through that, and y'all giving him hell for what came out of it?
Yeah, yeah. I hear you, man. Um, I want to rest. So as we close out tonight, in a few seconds before we get off, I do want to make the announcement about re-announce the people that are going to come on next week, because I'm super excited about that. I want to talk a little bit about March, and for the ladies, the females, my queens who are watching, and where we're headed with that. But I do want to end the night with this one question for each one of you. Is there a future for the Black church?
Yeah. We, I think as a people, are just so ingrained. We've invested too much. We've invested too much to walk away. I think what's going to happen is that the Black church again is going to evolve, and we've seen it evolve. I love this conversation, and I thank you guys so much for for bringing us together. Definitely been watching the PBS show and listening to different people chime in. It's going to evolve, and it's going to stretch people. It's going to push people. It's going to frustrate people. It's going to cause people to make decisions in terms of their alignment, and that's fine. That's what any good movement does. Movements disrupt, and I think every now and then God allows disruption when we get stuck, when we get stagnant. And if I don't want those who are within the Black church to think that the pandemic disruption was it. There's another one coming. I ain't a prophet. I don't, I don't. That's not my lane. I'm not the prophetic pastor. But I understand and know there's another disruption coming because again, as culture shifts, it's not that the church's response is responding to the shifting of culture, but we have to adjust. We have to adjust the message. But the challenge for the church will be if we can maintain the message as we shift it. It's like holding that, you holding that cake that you give for grandma's 90th birthday, and you holding that cake, making sure the cake don't tip over, icing don't get smushed on the box, none of that. We have to hold to the gospel message there so that no matter how we adapt, adjust, no matter what type of technology, I know Jackie mentioned AI, all of these wonderful things, that no matter how we utilize them, that the message of the gospel stays the same. He came to set us free. And anything that binds me needs to be broken up off of me so that I can be free. Mental chains, spiritual chains, financial chains, physical chains. I'll tell you one thing I think that has helped the Black church in this COVID experience is that we haven't had no repast at these funerals that we've been having. You know why that's a good thing? Because we ain't been sitting down eating chicken every other week and macaroni and cheese. Because if we're going to talk about the sustainability of the Black church, we got to talk about the health of Black people and the role that the Black church has historically played. Don't nobody want to talk about that. You're going to make somebody grandmama mad, and she's going to stop writing her tithe and check because you pissed her off because you talked about not having no more chicken. But if we're going to have a Black church in the future, we actually got to be alive in the future. So we got to adapt, but the gospel message has to stay the same.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
every time
That was great.
Every time you hit the nail on the head, and I'm like, yeah, you want me to follow that?
No, because I think you're on point.
Yeah, you're definitely on point. There will be the Black church in the future, man. I believe that the thing is that it will look differently. You know what I'm saying? Because when you look at technology and you look at how everything has shifted, church it's a totally different experience in church, right? So 10 years from now, 20 years from now, it won't look the same, but it'll still be there. And I believe when you talk about church or you talk about religion, I believe it will be less religion and more relationship.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because really that's what it's about anyway. It's about that relationship with our Lord and Savior. So I think we're going to move further away from those traditional things that comes with religion, and we're going to start really seeking the true God.
You know what? That's what I not that I was going to say what you said, but I was going to say that when you said it looked differently, it might not be the title of the Black church.
Right.
It will be the God church.
Right. It'll be the kingdom.
Yeah.
It'll be the kingdom.
It'll be the kingdom.
That's
the message.
That's it. And that's where I think the relevance of the Black church has to move to, moving to a point where we push the church to where those things of the black church, the white church, the Hispanic church, those we can celebrate them. And that's the place. I mean, that's Christ. That's what He called us to, for everyone to worship in spirit and in truth. Not the black church worship in spirit and truth with the black church and the white church. No, it's everybody.
Everybody.
And I think I mean, I know that's a Jesus type vision, but I think we can get there one day, to get to the point where we can celebrate our diversities and the diversity of culture and the diversity of thought, and even the way we worship in community, doing it in community still, and doing it as a people together that celebrates these different characters and areas, but we still are one church.
Yeah. I think that things will shift, and this may be a totally different topic on another day. But once we begin to not only model what Jesus modeled, like you say, LeVar, but also preach and teach what Jesus preached and teach. Mm-hmm. And that's totally different when we look around at what being taught. What has been taught. In the church. It's very rare that you will actually hear a message preaching what Jesus told the whole world to preach. When He told us to go out and make disciples, He actually gave us what to preach. Yeah. But you don't hear that often. Anyway, that's a totally different
You're going to go a whole nother hour.
Yeah, no, I'm getting me started talking about this kingdom.
I think that goes back to Latay's comment a moment ago, where she said Jesus was a disruption. Like we have twisted the message of the gospel. And that's why, folks get so nervous when you preach real Jesus, because it is a revolutionary gospel. It changes systems. Jesus preached against systems. And when you start touching on systems, you start making folk nervous, because then that means that they got to let go of stuff. Pastor Ramon talked about letting go of title, letting go of ego, letting go of things that my hands are on. So, we got to just open the gate for that type of, I'm down with that type of Jesus. Let's piss some people off.
Listen. I just started having this conversation, and I probably shouldn't even say this because I don't want nobody to take my idea, but I would love to do a project where I'll take our idea, but we talking about you. Yeah. You want to talk about listen, he about to mess. Well, okay, let me just say it like this, because I actually don't want to put it all the way out there. Don't. So let me just say this. I agree with you. There might be an idea that is coming out that actually I want to talk to all of you all about soon, but I think that is the point. I love what you all are saying, and I will end it right there by saying, but that's we got to stop painting the cute Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to stop painting the cute, shape up, blonde hair, long, blue eyes. Like, peace is everything. We should all be at peace. Like, that is not who Jesus was. And I think even down to, like, the humor of Jesus. I don't think we get to see enough that Jesus probably laughed.
He was ignorant. He had some ignorant jokes. He told some people some things that was like and ignorant in the sense of black folks, like, oh, you funny.
Petty Jesus. He could be petty Jesus. Yeah.
Right, absolutely.
Even down to, like, I think we get, like, people always, like, and I get it. God is a God of peace, but God is also a God of war. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there are seasons for everything. Like, there were moments when God was telling people, look, go chop their heads off, take everything that they got, or go kill them and leave everything they got with them. Like, that was God. That wasn't like just somebody talking. That was God talking. And I think we miss how diverse that God is, right? Like, God is not always the God that comes and He's just, okay, we're all going to sit around and we're all going to do this. No, He's not. Like, God gets nasty sometimes, and we miss that. And I think, like you said, every movement, LeVar, is always like that. There's disruption. When we look at what's happening with Black Lives Matter, ain't nothing wrong with Black Lives Matter, but everybody wants to find fault. Well, they should be ashamed, and they should be, because it disrupts the normal, everyday hierarchy of thinking, and that's okay.
And one quick thing, we can and this isn't a statement saying that Black Lives Matter is just the most Christian organization, but you can clearly see the different types of disruptions. January 6th versus the Black Lives Matter movement. Let's look at the different types of disruptions that came about. When it comes from a place of real, like, healthy disdain and no, I need to change this for my community, that's Black Lives Matter. When it's I want my power and I need it now, January 6th.
Yeah,
Sir.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Listen, and I want to give a shout out to Miss Leah Craiglow and all the other folks who've been watching on Instagram, man. It's been a lot of people tuning in on. I've been live on my Instagram just so that people can see the platform and see what we're doing. Listen, I got you, Miss Lee, I got you. So listen, a couple of things, and I want everybody to just give a shout out how people can follow you, how people can find you, what your next project is. So, actually, you know what? I'm gonna keep you out of suspense for one more minute. Minister Laval, why don't you share with them how they can find you with Project Good Men, what you guys are up to right now, and how they can find you on all your platforms.
Well, we are, again, thank you all so much, Amplify and The Well, for this platform. You guys are so dope and so amazing. And always, and good to connect with you as well, Brennan, and the work that you are doing. We are Project Goodman, at Project Goodman across all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, www.projectgoodman.org. Merchandise coming soon, so you can support the work. We actually launched our virtual programming tonight. We had 12 amazing young brothers. That's why I was running late, coming from there to here. But we had 12 amazing young men who are starting this journey with us and trusting us, amazing families. And so we ask that you guys just pray as we dig into topics that impact their development as young Black men. We are creating spaces for them to belong, to a supportive community, to believe in their God-given abilities, and to become men of purpose. And so we're going to be doing that twice a month for the next few months. And also look out for the Goodman Hour every first Tuesday of the month on our social media platforms. In March, we'll be celebrating Women's History Month by focusing on boy moms. And we have some amazing Black mothers who are going to join us and talk about the joys and challenges of being Black boy moms. And my mama, the queen, will be amongst the numbers.
Come on here, Queen. Love Mama Jones. Love Mama Jones.
Yeah.
Brennan, it's always, brother, it's always a great sharing the platform with you, man. The folks know you'll be on much more with us, which I love. But Black Methodist, how can people find you, and how can people find you as well personally? We can't hear you, Brennan.
If I unmuted myself, blackmethodist.com and at Black Methodist across all digital media, social media. Find us, connect with us. Next week, we're going to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, not Thursday, because I'm on with the Well next Thursday. But next Friday, we're going to be doing a book review of I Am Black, the book talking about the Black experience within the United Methodist Church. And just doing some chapter reviews there. But if you're looking to connect with me, BrennanBooz.com, spelled just like the name, no spaces, just BrennanBooz.com. Connect with me. Listen, I'm a cool dude. I'm a cool person. The platform, I appreciate, again, Ray, being a part of the platform. I appreciate Amplify, and I'm definitely looking into getting to know more about Project Goodman, man. It sounds like a dope project, and from what I'm hearing from my brother, sounds like something I need to find a way to, help out and support.
Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
yeah, awesome. Jackie and Terrence, man, what a night! How amazing! How I'm just so happy that you guys were on. People don't get to see the face of the Amplify Network when we're watching the Well, but what I do
The
know is
voice
that
of
people
God, y'all.
watch.
The voice of God we always mention.
Yeah, and so just like, oh my God, I'm enamored. I'm excited. I'm like humbled. Okay. Just tell people about you, how they can find you, what kind of stuff y'all got going on, and all that stuff, man.
Well, we are on every morning on the Amplify Network. You can find us on Instagram, Amplify Network. We're right now live on YouTube and Facebook Live. We are on Twitter, also Periscope. So we have many different platforms that we are available. Our goal is to produce the creativity in you. So if you have a ministry, you have a word,
Yeah.
you have a talent, contact us. This is what we do. And so we're on 6 a.m. for
6 a.m.
prayer. You know, this is the kind of work that we do. We produce content, we do special events, we do everything. So, yeah, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, so like she said, you can catch us every morning 6 a.m. man. And the beautiful thing about that is that it's not always us. Like we have ministry in Texas,
Yes.
you know, that actually joins us, especially on Friday. Actually, they'll be on tomorrow.
Pray for Texas.
Pray for Texas.
Yes,
Yeah.
pray for Texas.
So what you see us doing here with the well, this is what we do. We share our platform. We produce. We bring people in, special guests, and we want to get, you know, bridge that gap and use technology to do it.
Yeah, so you can find us here. Our personal page, Jack Sams on Instagram, Jack Sams on Facebook, Terrence Sams. He's an author, so you can find him on Amazon. I'm a musician, so you can find my music. We do everything. Come on.
Keeps it moving.
Listen, let's talk about how multifaceted they are. Jackie's a musician who has a single out, who is working on that next single to come out. I'm working with her, producing some stuff. Terrence is an assistant surgeon. So I want to make sure we plug my black man, my black brother, my black king right there, who is doing some amazing stuff. Not just, and then they own the Amplify Network together. I mean, I'm talking about black excellence right there, y'all.
Black
like I
excellence,
can't,
man.
it's king and queen right there. You know what I'm saying? Love them for what they're doing. 3J, people can follow you. He's an amazing minister MC. Let them know where they can find you.
Hi, I finally talked. Yeah, it's like no, but you guys can find me on Instagram 3J113. Facebook will be Jew Jackson. Also, I have another page which is 3J. Y'all can follow my music and stuff on there. Also, I'll be connected with encounteringtheworld.org. I'm sorry, and hey man, that's it. That's all I have. I don't have nothing else. I'm not popular.
So listen, guys. I've been telling y'all, you know, I just want to re-emphasize this announcement to you all. We are so excited because next week we've got the one and only Ronette Rollins from Praise 104.1 FM radio station, the national radio station, Praise FM, which is 104.1 here in the DMV. She's going to be on. My sister LeVar and I both graduated with her. She's doing amazing things. I think LeVar and I both have done her motivational moment on the radio station. And so we've been on her platform. She is coming over to our platform. I'm super excited about that. And hopefully she'll bring a lot of her listeners. The second piece is that our own Bishop Latrell Easterling of the Baltimore Washington Conference of the United Methodist Church is going to be on. And I am super ecstatic and excited about that the bishop is coming. And she is a dynamic, prophetic preacher. If y'all never heard her preach, I'm telling you.
Fire.
Listen, she is the first African-American woman to be appointed as the bishop in the Baltimore Washington Conference of the United Methodist Church. Wow. She is on fire. And I mean, I would like, if I can put a link up during the week of her preaching, oh my gosh, like just one of those voices that when she starts to speak, you almost just drop everything. I mean, she is just that dynamic. And I'm not telling y'all this about fluff. So that's next week, next Thursday, and the event is already up. I'll send out the invites between tonight and tomorrow morning, but the event is already up. Amplify Network is a host of that. Brendan is a host. I'm a host. 3J is a host. And here is the next thing. March. For all of my beautiful queens, all of my wonderful ladies. Jackie, we got to get you involved in this. Maybe you and Terrence can switch places. I don't know. Yeah. But we are turning it over to the women. We are turning it over to the queens. So our very own Kim B, who is our Director of Arts, is going to host the very first encounter starting in March. And it's going to be a platform of all women. And we're going to talk about the stereotypes of women. And so Kim B is going to move that off, and then we'll rejoin her later in the month to bring the guys' conversation to a part of that. But we wanted to start with all the females, all the ladies. So make sure that you all are logged in on in March. And make sure you're logged on next week. We got some great stuff coming, y'all.
Yeah.
You can follow us on all of our social media at Encounter the Well, both on Facebook and on Instagram at Encounter the Well. Just look us up there. You can follow, there you go, on all of our social media. You can follow us at our website, www.encounterthewell.org. As Julian, as 3J so eloquently said earlier. And listen, it takes finances to build this platform, to build the kingdom. So I want to just say this. You can give to, you can join us by texting to give at 84321. Any dollar amount, $50, $100, like it's the picture there on your screen. Send that to 84321. That also allows you to get into our database so that we can share upcoming events with you and we can keep you in the loop. And listen, like Minister LeVar said, we are all about partnerships. So you'll also, by becoming a part of our network, we'll share with you things that the Amplify Network is doing, that Project Goodman is doing, that Black Methodist is doing. We want to share that with within our story and within our networks and our emails. So please make sure you sign up for contact from us. Please go to, I listed everybody's website. Listen, give where you feel God calling you to give. If you believe you can partner with the Amplify Network, I invite you to go check out their stuff, and I invite you to give to them generously. If you believe that Project Goodman is where your heart is, you believe in mentoring, you believe in helping other kids and young people and grown-ups get to that place where we're moving together, then go visit the Project Goodman page and feel free to give from your heart generously. And if you believe that Black Methodist is the place where you are, perhaps you're a Methodist and you want to become more Methodist and you're a Black person in the Methodist system and you believe that platform is something that we need to unify us, then go check out Black Methodist and give generously, or at least do the research. But wherever you go, give. Because God asked us to give. And that just means sometimes sharing the platform. Share our websites with your network. Share this conversation with your network. Share whatever you can from us to other people. And whatever you're doing, share it with us. We do have some people that won the competition from the hip hop series. I'll share that on the next encounter. But until next time, family, I love you. We love you. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Thank you to all of our guests. I love y'all guys. It's been an amazing night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well,
Have a blessed day.